What's up, everyone, and welcome into your Celtics source. We are less than a week away from training camp. Actually, in fact, we have like 3 days or something. Media day is Monday, and the Knicks and other teams have already gotten started as they have some away games in different countries around the world. But the Celtics officially start on Monday. And what are your first opening thoughts on a brand new season with, mixed expectations?
Yeah, we're in the last hurrahs of summer here in New England. It's warm, but we see the leaves just starting to change. That means it's bucket season. And I'm looking forward to the season. I feel like I have no pressure. I don't feel like I got a monkey on my back. We got to do it this year because the roster's going to blow up. I almost feel like just we're playing free and let's see what happens. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, you can't. We have no idea what's going to happen with this team. This team could, if Jaylen Brown has a great year, if Derrick White, Payton Pritchard all have great years, this team can be a top playoff team in the Eastern Conference. But just as easily, the opposite can happen, where this team bottoms out, has a rough start to the season, and midway through December, they're selling off pieces for a rebuild in the next coming years.
I think that's unlikely. I wouldn't say it's not possible because Brad Stevens is smart and aggressive. I think we got too many veterans. We've got guys who've won championship. I don't see that happening. I think we might hit some rough patches, that's for sure. I think we're going to have some ugly basketball games here and there, but this team still has a lot of talent, and I don't see us, imploding, and blowing the thing up. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we're looking at a good season. We're looking at I think a middle of the pack playoff seed because the East is weak and there are a lot of other injuries there. Um, so it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride. One of the things you and I talked a lot about, we talk a lot of baseball, Red Sox right at the end of the season. They're probably making the playoffs, knock on wood here, but like it was an up and down season. We saw flashes of talent, amazing runs from the rookies, and we saw some really bad baseball and errors. I think we're going to have a different but similar kind of season with the Celtics.
I agree. What we're gonna see ups and downs from the rookies, from some of the younger players. I don't want to see ups and downs from Derrick White, Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. Like, if they're having an up and down season, we have a problem, not just for this year, but for the future as well. Like, those three have been in the league long enough that they should be able to form some sort of trio. They might not be able to, you know, it might not be enough to
Yeah,
carry the team,
yeah.
but they can't be the ones causing this team to lose,
We sometimes
holding this team back.
Yeah, sometimes in New England and other sports, they talk about a moral victory, right? You lost, but you fought the good fight. And obviously, we measure success in championships. But I feel like in this season, you go up against the Thunder and you play a great game and you lose by five. Like maybe I'm okay with that, as long as they're playing up to their potential, like I'm kind of okay if we don't win some games here, right? Like that's the roster we have right now, and I'm okay with that. I'm not saying I want to lose. I'm just saying like if they play their best and we lose, you got to be able to sleep at night. That's what you got, right? Some teams are just better.
Yeah. I mean, before we get into analysis of individual players here, I don't know if you saw the other day, Jayson Tatum went on the national media and shared his thoughts on the team overall, the his obviously his injury and his expectations for the season. And one of the things I thought really stood out with his thoughts was his thoughts on Joe Mazzulla and their relationship, right? Because obviously he grows up a Lakers fan. He, you know, could have been drafted by the 76ers had the Celtics not fleeced Danny Ainge, not fleeced the entire league on that draft night.
Yeah.
But he, at first, he doesn't want to play for the Celtics. He's sort of frustrated and angry that they drafted him, right? And obviously gets older, and COVID comes, and he gets, he I wouldn't say falls in love, but he has a great relationship with Ime Udoka, and then Ime Udoka leaves, and at first it seems like Joe Mazzulla's sort of coaching strategies not the same way that Jayson Tatum, plays. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm saying like he need Joe Mazzulla's sort of strategy was a little off at first. It felt like in that first year,
Yeah.
but it seems like over the last couple of years, obviously a championship helps, but it seems like Jayson Tatum has grown into, admiring his coaching strategy and, appreciating Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, obviously we don't really know the relationship, but I think in any great relationship player coach, even player player, you grow over time. And I think Joe Mazzulla also deserves some credit for maturing and growing into his role as a coach and not only becoming a better head coach, but changing his style and changing some of the decisions he's made to suit the players and the team he has. And so I think it goes both ways. Tatum has seems to have come along and accepted the role and the team and the chemistry, and Joe Mazzulla's become a piece of that. And so, it's a great, seems like it's a pretty good combination now and a lot of mutual respect. You know, that doesn't mean you necessarily win basketball games though. So it is great to see, but we got to score buckets more than the other guy.
Yeah. I think another thing he talked about, I just did a video on that, so we're not going to go deep into him, but it's been 19 weeks since the surgery. He played his first on the court basketball the other day, 20 minutes of not a lot of, actual running and stuff, but shooting and moving, which I think is huge. I mean, I'm not saying he's coming back early. I still think February is the time frame for him, but it just seems like he's farther along than we might have thought he would be at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to benchmark his return and recovery, um, Halliburton's return and recovery, and Lillard, right, is the third. Didn't he tear his Achilles as well? So, and he was ahead of all of them. So let's see how people are rehabbing. I don't think that Tatum. I think this team's a playoff team. My guess is they're 4 to 6. I think. Maybe they're 7. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if I have them at 4. I think I'd still
So
have the
if that's
Knicks, the Caps. I'd probably take the Magic, Detroit maybe in there.
yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm not saying 4 is what I'm predicting. They're middle to bottom of the pack, but they're to win 4 more games to move up from 7 to 6 or to 5. I don't think so. I mean, maybe you want to get out of the play-in, but I don't think you're bringing them back early to move up a couple spots in the playoff. I don't think so. I think they're going to take it slow.
No, but if you let's say they get into the playoffs and they're not a they get in officially, whether that is via the play-in tournament or they actually have a seat. I think he plays full on in the playoffs.
Well, you're basically a year then.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you're 11 months into a recovery. Yeah, I think he plays.
Hmm.
I
You
think
have,
that's right.
I mean, yeah.
Or if he's not right, then he's not going to play. They're not going to risk his long-term health. But
No.
so,
But I mean, you're getting to a year. At that point, you start to wonder what's wrong with him if he's not able to do anything.
yeah, he may never be healthy again. He may never be the same. I don't think that's the case, but that's always the risk. So, but I think you're right. He can put as much as he wants on the socials. I would not expect to see him until the 11th hour, really, of the season. Like, are they going to showcase him for 5 minutes in March? I don't know. In a blowout where he just gets on the court and can shoot some threes? I don't know, maybe, but like, they're not going to stress him until they have to.
He did say one thing. He said whenever he does return, it will be a home game in front of his own crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not gonna put him up in Charlotte on the road for his first appearance.
Why?
Like,
You put it against a bad team that
yeah, but I think the emotional,
right.
you're gonna feed off of that
I think
emotion.
I think
So,
so. All right, we'll move on here
yeah.
and talk about individual players. I'll give the choice to you on the first player that we talk about here.
Well, I have to ask you, do you want to talk about rookies or veterans or
I think we can do a quick thing on the trio of Brown, White, and Pritchard. I think that's pretty much set on what we need from them. I'm talking more about what can we get out of the backup centers? What can we get out of Jordan Walsh, Baylor Scheierman?
yeah, we could talk about those guys. I kind of most intrigued by Amari Williams. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of my like I don't know, like I don't think I don't ex- I don't think you can expect a lot out of a guy like that in the first season. But I
Right.
guess I want to watch him develop. I want to see like, did we get a guy who's going to be a big league, NBA player and give you minutes and give you production? And so, are we going to see him progress over the year? Because I think he's going to get time, given the state of our centers. I think they're going to give him minutes. I would think to try and develop him. So,
Yeah, I mean, he has to get. I mean, you have Keita is probably going to be the starter. I mean, I can't think of anybody else at the time. Maybe a Chris Boucher coming over from the Raptors, but Keita shot some threes during Euros, and I'm not saying he's gonna be shooting threes, not at all. But I'm saying, if you need a 5-out offense, you possibly could try it with Keita. You're not going to get that from a Williams. Um,
yeah.
you're not going to get that from even, a Xavier Tillman who just disappeared at the end of last season, but maybe, he's still on the
Still got
team.
Luke Garza, right? So they're
Yeah.
gonna put Garza out. So it's sort of a rotating cast. You got three or four guys in there that could potentially. So, but that's sort of when I think about not the main guys we talk about. I want to see what we got there. See, who he is and how he plays. I have not seen any of his summer play. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Mostly, it was always short stints and it wasn't a lot of they didn't really try and showcase him in any way. It was a lot of just,
Yeah.
let him go out there and see what he got. So I didn't take much stock in that.
Mhm.
I do think it's going to be a center by committee. It's going to be Kata's until he loses it, and then it'll be someone else until he loses it. And I think Joe Mazzulla will just keep going to one guy until he doesn't have it anymore.
So you think they're going to start Cato over Garza?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Because I just think Keita has the experience. He played well over the summer in the Euros, leading the Portugal to a final 16. Right,
Yeah.
they lost against Latvia and Kristaps Porzingis, but
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, back to your question. I'd say of like the new faces and the rookies, that's the one I'm most interested in because I feel like that's the biggest gap. I mean, that's a gap. We don't have a good answer there. And I think we can see we've seen and most teams see like if you have a good answer there, it changes the dynamic of the team, whether it's a Kristaps or somebody else. Like that it changes the complexion of the game. So that's the number one new face and rookie I'm looking forward to watching. What about you?
um, for me, it has to be Baylor Scheierman. Baylor Scheierman or Jordan Walsh. If Jordan Walsh has to find a way to be able to shoot threes because last year he just couldn't make a three. I think he's more productive in the paint than a guy like Baylor Scheierman, but Baylor Scheierman has that three ball in him that can just be so beneficial at times, especially last year, right? Like we're gonna have Brown to do most of the work in the paint. I think like the dribbling and kicking. We're gonna have White, Pritchard. We need someone who can just sit in the corner and knock down a three. And I'm not saying they're gonna play the same offense as last year, drive and kick. But at some point in the game, in each game, you're gonna need someone just to be open and knock down a three. And I think Baylor Scheierman has that potential over Jordan Walsh.
What about over Hauser?
Yeah, I mean, Hauser, I think, is going to be the sixth man, right? I think he has to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Right? Like I don't see how you're going to play a center over him or even another guard or forward. Like
I don't know if they'll try two bigs. I don't know. But, we'll see if they try and put a Kata and a Garza out together or something like that. But Yeah. I
Nah.
think you're right, though. I agree with your comment, which is if I'm watching Williams, you're watching Scheierman, see if he takes that next step. Because you do need a 6, 7, 8 to make a deep run, maybe even a 9. You do need
Mhm.
12, no, but you got to have guys that can spell your
Oh,
guards and hit threes and play D.
I just blanked on him completely. Hauser's not your six man. It's gonna be Anfernee Simons.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah,
both just we just both blanked on him.
yeah.
He's a huge
He's your six
offensive
man.
huge
Yeah.
offensive piece for this team.
Yeah, that's a good call. And that's why we call preseason. You working out the kinks, just like we are. We're working out the kinks in the show. Um,
I mean, he might be a trade asset before the start of the
I
season.
just don't see him staying here.
At this point, I really think he gets a little bit better at defense. He's so huge for you on offense. Like he
Yeah.
could be. I actually think he's better than Pritchard on offense. And I know that hurts your feelings being the
No,
pick.
it's just Anthony Simmons is guardable. Okay, he's guardable.
Anthony Simons.
And Pritchard's unguardable. So, there's just that.
I knew that was coming.
You knew it was coming because we got to talk about that every show. Um, You're right. That's a good call. I don't know how we forgot about him. I think it'll be fun to watch him. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw some solid play out of a center, like a not our number one guy, but maybe some good backup minutes out of a Queta or a Garza or somebody like that, not a rookie. And maybe they package Simmons up, or Garza up, and try and go get, and they trade some draft capital and try and get a better player for next, on a 2 or 3 year contract kind of thing. You could see that happen in late November, December or something.
See, I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about this after the season's over or whatever, but like I just don't see how any of these players on these teams, besides your core three, which I don't think they want to trade away,
Yeah.
can even be packaged up for a deal. Like,
Well,
because
you know what?
who's looking for four late bench players all doing the exact same thing?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I mean, there's always places to move guys, especially if you have money to eat. So if you're willing to pay the Simmons money and you move him to a Charlotte, a spot where, you really need help and he's not, and he's actually a starter or a number six, and maybe you're throwing in so you're accumulating maybe a bunch some late firsts or some seconds, and then you're trading 3 seconds for a first. At some point, if you have enough capital, you can move up and do whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. We'll see. My get is they're gonna play the roster they've got right now for 20 games and see what happens. Quarter of the season, and let's just see what we got here, right?
Let's do a little Joe corner here.
Okay. Okay.
How
Joe, you gotta have a clever name for it though, like Joe's Juice, right? What's the
I, how does Joe Mazzulla handle this? Because if things go wrong early and he gets frustrated and he starts just playing the four guys, do you think he goes to like a Tom Thibodeau style where he just plays his starters, has no trust in his bench, and he just goes 40 minutes a night with them?
I don't think so. I'll tell you why. They've extended his contract, right? He's got I don't know how many, but several bunch more years on his contract here. Um, I think that if he had well, I don't want to say he didn't mess up last year because that's a different conversation. We've talked about that, but I think that the expectations are low for him. So I think, putting in a 500 season, he wins 41 to 45 games and they're a late seed in the playoffs or something like. I don't think you're going to get fired for that. And so I think they're managing to that exact sort of plan. And so I think he's got a lot of leeway from management. I don't think they're going to come after him with you like they did after Thibodeau and they fired him, which everybody thinks is crazy, but they did. I don't think you're going to see that this year. If Tatum comes back and next year they are not doing well and they're at full strength, they made some other moves. Yeah, I think then he could be on the on the seat, 2.5 years in. You missed in '05, '06 was a transition season, and now '07's not going well. Like, hey, we got to move on here. But I don't think this year there's really any risk for him because what kind of think about the rest of the team. If you were to swap out Mazzulla, it's a pretty bad message, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I personally, you can't do that. Like, you can't give the coach this team and say, playoffs or bust. Like you have to.
Well, I think you could say playoffs. I think that's a reasonable expectation. It's not Gerard Mayo, right? Where, you gave him nothing and then told him to go fix it and make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
This is a playoff team. I think if Joe Mazzulla doesn't make the playoffs with this team, I think there's risk there. I do. Because this is a playoff in the East. In the West, no.
I think you have to have a winning season for
Yeah.
sure.
And if you have a winning season in the East, you make the playoffs.
Yeah, usually.
So
Yeah,
so
I
I
mean,
think
unless
I
something crazy goes on, you should be getting in at 42 and 40 or whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah. So I think I would say they're probably targeting 45 wins in the 6 or 7 seed or something like that.
mhm. Yeah, let's talk about a couple other players here before we wrap it up.
Okay.
Think we need to briefly talk about Derrick White. Think we should also talk about some of these guys off the bench, for example, we talked about Simmons, we talked about Hauser a little bit, Jordan Walsh, Scheierman. Trying to think of other guys deep on the bench here. We have,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, they got like Hugo Gonzalez,
yeah,
right?
right. I think Hugo Gonzalez is gonna spend a lot of time uh in the
G League.
G League this year. I just think
Yeah.
that with uh the roster as it is, and yes, he did play in Spain in a pro league, but he didn't play much. He was young.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think we have a couple players coming over from the Timberwolves, right? We mentioned Luka Garza, but we also have Josh Maya, who didn't play much, but I guess, has NBA minutes, right? You're just looking for someone at this point with NBA minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
I yeah.
I think it's unlikely we're gonna find somebody who is an all-star caliber who just hasn't blossomed yet. Like, and he's
Mhm.
been playing the league, but I don't know that we need that. If you got the three starters and you're up by 12 points and you got somebody who can spell minutes and score some points. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm with you. The guys that if they don't take a step forward are not going to be here. I think Jordan Walsh is number one on that list. This is his year to prove something. I think if he doesn't, I don't know that they're going to hold on to him, right? And he could probably be a player on another team, but not on this team.
Yeah, I
Seems
don't
like.
think you can after going into it would be year four, going into year four at that point. Like, I don't
Yeah,
think you can. Like, you have to get something out. Right? He's a first round pick. It's
yeah.
not like he's a late round, second round or anything.
Undrafted, whatever,
He is a
yeah,
first round pick.
yeah.
Um,
So I think him and Shire, those are the guys that have got to take the next step, to you know. And again, it's really interesting to see. I mean, you watch Pritchard's evolution. Like all jokes aside, like become a legitimate good NBA player. It's not Kobe, he's not, you know, like epic all world player, but like he's a legitimate starter. He's a legitimate player. And so you want to see if guys can take those steps and become in that direction. Because then you really got something. Then you got value, you got a team, you got backups, trade capital, whatever.
yeah, did you see funny enough you mentioned Kobe. He made ESPN's top 10. Well, they did a top 100 players of the 21st century, and he was number 10. I think that's them just reminiscing on. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I
Yeah.
think
I mean,
there are other.
Kobe was an
Yeah,
amazing player. I know it's a little sacrilege. I'm not a Kobe guy, and not so much because of a Celtics thing. I just whatever. But he definitely an incredible talent and definitely a top player.
they didn't put on Djokovic in the top 10. There are a couple interesting decision. Always very controversial. Those top
Yeah.
100.
Well, and I also think it's really interesting. Again, this is not this show, but like different times, different places, right? The league Jordan
Mm,
played in is not the league that, LeBron plays in. It's not the league that Will
mm.
Chamberlain plays. So it's like, the games and the styles and whatever changes and stuff that people did then made them all stars. Maybe wouldn't make them all stars today, and the stuff that they do today, was different then too, right? So it's always a time and a place, right? You can't take it out of that context. So
Yeah. The Celtics did add a couple more players over the last couple days. Nothing that I have looked into or anything. RJ Lewis, uh, Hayden Gray, all, training camp players, you
yeah.
know, not even G League, like, so like,
Yeah, I mean, Hayden Gray, he's a UC San Diego guy. Played some good minutes there.
shout out the hometown.
Sh Shout out to a little bit of quick Google search. 5'11", or sorry, he's a 6'4", 190, so a little light at that size. Shooting guard. So we'll see. We'll see what we got there.
We'll see.
And by the way, Hayden Gray, if you're watching, we would love to have you. We'd love to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit about.
After you just went off and just absolutely destroyed him.
Anyway, Hayden Gray, it'd be great to see him. San Diego local. We got some family out there, as you know, in that area. So welcome to the team, Mr. Gray, and you're welcome on the show anytime. We'll have our people reach out to yours and see if you're available for a short interview. Just get to know you. Welcome to Boston.
Yeah, it won't be a long stint. I'll tell you that right now.
You don't think so?
He will be done mid-October.
I don't know.
Send him off to Europe.
Maybe. I mean, who are you going to put in his stead? Like, yeah, I'm mute.
I think at the moment, good.
Yeah.
I think at the moment there's like 18 or something players, not on like not including the G League team. So obviously a couple of those will not be here and I'm not sure they're gonna fill the full team. Like they might, you know,
They'll put people on there because why not? But yeah, yeah,
they might stop it at like a 12
yeah.
out of
Well, I'll say this. I hesitated making this call. It all summer I kind of thought about it, and then I ignored it. I think the Thunder are going to repeat.
you were so quick to turn me down when I
I
said that.
was, I was.
Oh,
This is what I'm saying. Because
and
I'm acknowledging it. I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, who's going to take these guys down?
I don't want to, you know, uh, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say, I might have had the Rockets now, and I know this might be a thought for another video or whatever,
Yeah.
but now that Fred VanVleet is out, they don't have a true point guard like that can help Kevin Durant out. So I had them being a contender. I think that's I don't they still might be a second seed, but I think the Lakers are still going to be strong, but I just don't think there is going to be.
Sacramento's going to be good, and Denver's always good, and but we'll see LA. I mean, obviously, we hope LA goes 0-82,
I
like
mean,
doesn't win a game.
I don't know. Have you seen those workouts Luca's been doing this summer?
I think I think you got it together. We'll see. I'll tell you who else I think you got to watch for, and you know who I'm going to say. Spurs. You got to watch for those guys. I
Yeah, I
think they're
think
still a year or two
they're
away from.
still a little young, I think.
I think so, but like, man, they are getting stacked down there,
Hmm.
which just seems illegal. But yeah,
Well, we'll see if Wemby can stay healthy.
and Cooper Flag plays with the big boys, but like, I bet
Cooper
he's.
Flat, that's Dallas.
Oh, sorry, I mixed it up.
You meant Dallas?
I meant Dallas. I said the Spurs, but I meant Dallas.
Okay,
I
Mavericks.
think both the teams there. I was thinking about both those
But you're
guys.
not wrong to say like the Spurs are still on the up. They'll
Yes,
still be a good contender. Um,
yes. If Wemby stays
Dallas.
healthy, they're always in contention, and I think Dallas is going to be. The question is, can AD stay healthy? I think the answer is
Well,
no.
like when does Kyrie come back? Because he had the Achilles too, right? Or
No,
was it something else?
ACL. He had ACL.
ACL.
That's much
Okay.
faster. But I think Kyrie's I mean, he's gonna have knee problems forever, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
stars like us, we got the knee problems. So.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, but yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow on social media. You can check out this podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. We will be back I think Tuesday, reacting to, just our thoughts on the takeaways from Media Day. I think I'll just say this. I think Jayson Tatum's going to speak at Media Day, and then you won't hear from him until February. Like, I do
Yeah,
think he'll come out. He's going to be in Boston all year. I think he'll go to many. I don't know if he's going to travel with the team per se, right? Do his own rehab at home.
I don't think so.
But I do
Certainly not in the
think,
fall.
yeah, but I do think for most home games, he will come. He's not going to be away from the team. I think he'll be around the team as much as possible, doing his own workout and whatever with the team, without the team.
Yeah,
But I think he will share his thoughts on Monday, and then he'll sort of disappear
yeah.
until then. But
Leave us in the comments below. Who's the number one player you're looking forward to watching, just from a learning perspective on the Celtics? We'd love to hear
on the
thoughts.
Celtics.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining me as always. And until next time, go C's.
OCs.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured.